students, welcome to class. We have a new presentation here by somebody named Michael Knowles, who is a right-winger in the United States of America. I am Canadian, so I'm just observing what's going on down there. Sometimes I watch things that are in complete contradiction to what I actually feel, but it's interesting to know what goes on. Let's see what this guy, who is actually a carnist, he is somebody who makes fun of vegans. Let's see what he has to say. Personally, I think what he did in previous videos was actually quite cruel and shows that he's quite ignorant. I don't think he has watched any of the required documentaries, and I think that as a traditionalist, he just assumes that we've always been eating meat, so we should always keep on eating meat, and that's just the way it is, and vegans are crazy. That kind of idea that he espouses, that he talks about, that he spews out of his mouth, is just showing his ignorance. But in other things, he is saying things that I think maybe need to be said. So let's see what he has to say on this particular issue.
We're told that if you do not tell a little girl that she is a little boy, that you're hateful, you're bigoted, you're awful, you're terrible, you're harming her, you're probably going to kill her, she's probably going to commit suicide, you awful bigot. You know, there's a flip side to this story, though. As these perverts in the mainstream media and in politics and in education are convincing little kids to castrate themselves and to pump themselves full of cross-sex hormones.
Are they convincing little kids to castrate themselves? I don't think so. I don't know if they're convincing them, Michael. I'm going to give you an X for that. I don't think that they are convincing them. Did he actually say little kids? Let's go back. Because I could see that then people are supporting teens who believe that they are born in the wrong body. They're supporting them to go ahead and get the surgery if that's what they want, to take these hormones if they want. It's different than forcing little kids, or what is
little kids to castrate themselves.
What is the word before that? Hold on, let's go back.
And in politics and in education are convincing little kids to castrate themselves. And
convincing little kids to no, I don't think people are doing that, Michael. That's disingenuous.
Pump themselves full of cross-sex hormones. And
I don't think we give hormones to little kids, so that's another one. It's another, you're just exaggerating right now, and that's not right, Michael.
People are transitioning through this social contagion. There's an increasing number of people who are detransitioning because they realize that these sickos, these psychos, have gotten them to mutilate their bodies against their own.
Psychos have gotten them to mutilate their bodies. I don't know if people are trying to do that. What do you base that on? Psychos and sickos. I don't know. I'm not sure what to think. I'm going to keep listening.
Own best interests. There was a TikTok.
Against their own best interests. Well, I think that doing surgery on kids to try to change, or teenagers to change who they are in a permanent way, I agree that that is not a good idea. Giving people hormones to change them, to make them grow beards, and to stop the growth of their natural female bodies, I agree it's not a good idea. I don't think that taking these chemicals is a good idea at all. Taking these hormones, taking anything that is not going to be good for your body, this putting in this crap, instead of being proud to be who you are born as. So I think I'm going to give him a check mark, because I think what he's trying to say is that we should just leave people alone, and we should try to teach people in our society to love themselves as they are. I think that's what he's trying to say. But let me ask you this, Michael Knowles. How do you feel about circumcision? Circumcision is when we pin a baby down and we rip off their diaper, and we bring a blade to the tip of their penis, and we cut off the foreskin. I hope that you are consistent in your beliefs to think that that is also wrong. That is child abuse, and people who perform that are sickos. I would love to hear your opinion on circumcision, and I have a feeling that you're not consistent. Are you? Let me know.
Going around. So much of the trans ideology gets spread on TikTok. It's really short, quippy videos that very often leftist teenagers and young adults will just spout nonsense on. Well, this was...
Leftist people will spout nonsense on TikTok. Well, I've been on TikTok, and I can agree with you that there's a lot of nonsense on there. There are a lot of people who I would not say that they're necessarily leftist. I don't know what they are, but people who lie about animal rights activists. There's a lot of veganphobia that goes on there. So I'm going to give you a check mark for that about TikTok. The unfortunate thing about TikTok is there's no parents there who are running the show who are saying, you know what? Somebody who's sticking up for the animals, the most innocent on the planet, who suffer consistently by the billions, that person, me, who is a teacher and a nurse, she should not be taken off such a platform. So in that sense, I agree that TikTok can be a little bit crazy. You have a bunch of 10-year-olds on there, sometimes younger, because you can't tell they hide their identity, and then they write all kinds of crazy comments, like the people that comment in my comment sections. Sometimes people read it who are in their 40s and 50s, and they're like, what is going on here? But the comments are often from just little kids who have no idea what's going on. They don't even understand the basics of speciesism, of veganphobia, of dystopia, of what it means to be vegan fantastic. They don't understand carnism. They don't understand cognitive dissonance. They don't understand anything, and yet they feel the need to speak their mind or say something without having done any research.
This is the best TikTok I ever saw. It looks like a young man is in the frame.
So he's saying that this is the best TikTok he's ever seen?
You know, you're kind of like a scrawny young man, but still a young man. And he says, hi, I've gone by the name Matthew Matt for the past 3 years. He's shaving in the window, right? But a few weeks ago, I found God again.
Uh-oh. I found God again. Oh, no. And this is the best video you've ever seen, Michael? You're getting an X for that. Anything that has to do with religion and finding God should be sending off huge alarms in your head, Michael. People that find God means they found a fairy tale. God is in our heads. What we should be caring about is nature, the planet, preserving what we have here, not worshiping some person, some guy up in the clouds or whatever you think that God is.
Okay. He hit me out of left field and completely rocked my world.
God is a he? No. God doesn't have a penis.
Peep the cool hair, my...
God doesn't exist. Nature exists. Science exists. God does not have a penis. God is not male.
BFF did for me. It's like a cross on the back. God reminded me of his love for me.
God reminded me of his love for me. God doesn't love you. Okay? God doesn't care about you. God doesn't care about anyone because God does not exist. But if you believe that God exists, that's okay. That doesn't hurt anybody. As long as you actually use the messages from the Bible or whatever other book from the past you think is important to read, and you use those messages to try to be a better person. Are you trying to be a better person? Are you trying to live in line with what nature it wants us to do, which is to pollute less, to just be okay in our own bodies? If you're older and you have gray hair, be fine with it. If you're a little bit stocky because you were born with big muscles and it's just in your genetics, be fine with it. If you're born scrawny with like tiny little wrists, like tiny little bones, be fine with it. If you're born with and you become a teenager and you have small boobs or big boobs or whatever, be fine with it. If you're born with a penis, be fine with it. You're born with a vagina, be fine with it. Stop trying to change yourself as if changing the outside of yourself is going to change the inside. Because guess what? When you change the outside of yourself, you're still there. Every day, you're still walking around, you're still there. How about these people get rid of mirrors? That would be a good idea.
The love I had lost sight of through the years. Now he's putting makeup on. I started to see things in a new light, things I hadn't...
Why is somebody putting makeup on? Why do we need makeup? What's the point in it? Something on the eyes?
Thought about. Now you realize, wait a second, he might not be a he.
More above the eyes. Now you realize that he might not be a he. What, because the makeup? No, Michael. You're getting another X. Both men and women can put makeup on. They do that in the theater all the time. You probably have makeup on before you go on camera as well. So don't give me that he is really a she stuff because of the makeup. Makeup is just pollution. It's just crap. It is just people who plow down a giant field and construct a giant big building and put a bunch of chemicals in there and spew out something in packages that they try to sell to us as if we need it. Primarily women. It's just bullshit. People should not be wearing makeup. There's no reason to get addicted to something like that, to look in the mirror so often at yourself. Like, stop it. If you think you need makeup, get rid of the mirrors in your house. Stop looking at yourself.
Little makeup on the eyes. And then he knit me together in my mother's womb exactly the way he wanted me to be.
He knit me. So this person thinks that God knit him in his mother's womb exactly the way that he was supposed to be. Well, let's take God out of the picture. I don't know. I'm not going to put an X for that, because I think that the message here that Michael is trying to say is that the way that this human was born was perfectly fine. So for that, I'm going to give him a check mark. All right? Check mark, because that's good. If you think that it's important to promote people's love for themselves, just to appreciate who they are and not try to change every little thing about their body all the time with makeup and hair dye and with trying to chop off your penis if you're born with a penis or whatever it is that you're trying to do, I think it's good. Michael, I think you're on the right track. I think I know what you're trying to say, but just keep God out of it.
Referring to God. And because of this realization, I'm detransitioning and retransitioning into the woman that God intended for me to be. Feels weird. I'm excited for this new journey.
I think what he's saying there when he's using the word God, let's use that interchangeably to mean the way that I was born, the way that nature wanted me to be. Let's use quotations in that. But basically just saying, look, appreciate yourself.
A little anxious too. But through...
Anxious. Why do you think that this person is anxious? That's a weird thing. I'm a little anxious. Anxious. What are you anxious about? What is this person, I guess she's a girl. What is this girl, this young lady, this woman, anxious about? If she really did find God, and God told her that she should stop shaving, stop taking the testosterone, and be who she was meant to be, what's to be anxious about? You should be happy. You should be just like, woohoo! I saw the light. Well, the reason is because people who see God, who think that they see God, who get messages from God, often know in the back of their minds that it's all bullshit. They don't really believe in God. It gives them a crutch. It gives them something to look at. And those churches can be super fun. I get it. I've been to them. Those church services, those Catholic Christian ones, whatever, not the Catholic, but the Christian ones, where you're like singing and dancing and hallelujah, praise the Lord. I mean, all the singing and the dancing part is super fun. I get it. I love dancing. I love standing up and being with the crowd. It's like being at a rock concert. But this is what they do. They twist your mind with all this rock music and these big PowerPoint slides in these churches. And they just make you think that God cares about you. Jesus doesn't care about you. Jesus is dead. God is not somebody who's watching down on you. If God was watching down on us, God would have fixed a lot of the problems in the world right now and wouldn't give a shit about you and your makeup and your lack of penis or your penis. God would be out there caring about the most vulnerable, the animals. God would have stopped the Holocaust right now, the animal Holocaust that is still going on because the Holocaust never ended for the animals. They are still being forced into confinement. They are still being raped into existence. Their babies are being kidnapped. And if they are born as baby boy cows, they are murdered at birth at just a few days old because they'll never be able to give milk. They're turned into veal. Females, the cows, are put into this cycle of violence, back into it, forced to be pregnant against their will. Michael Knowles thinks that's totally fine. But he's getting all kind of choked up watching this woman go back to being a woman. That's really like touching for him. But when it comes to animal rights activists who speak on behalf of the billions, and if you include sea life, the trillions of animals who are being murdered and massacred, if he sees animal rights defenders talking about that, does that make him tear up? Does that make him think, oh, yeah, wow, those animal rights activists are amazing? No. Because this asshole thinks it's okay to keep paying for the rape, torture, and murder of animals. Hey, because it's always been that way, because he's completely uneducated. And that's why I call him an asshole in this case. Because I know I've seen other videos of his. Or maybe I shouldn't call him an asshole, I don't know. not everything that comes out of his mouth is wrong, but you know, when your fundamental baseline, your core values involve making fun of people who are trying to save others from so much torment, sadness, torture, and suffering, when that's like at your core value, that kind of makes you an asshole, Michael. I'm going to give you an X for that.
Through my anxiety, I know I have God by my side.
If you have anxiety and you have God, what? If you know that God is by your side, why do you have any anxiety? Because you don't actually believe that God is at your side, do you? Because you know it's bullshit.
And then you see, it's a girl.
It's a girl. Good one, Michael. It's a girl. Let's give you an X for that. That thing over there is a girl. That's what he's saying. Oh, Michael.
It's a girl sitting there. Pretty girl.
Looks to me like that person is actually standing. And pretty girl. Oh, another X. Another X. Who are you to judge if somebody is pretty or not? Because she has all the makeup on? Is that what you're saying? And before she had the makeup on, she wasn't pretty? Is that it? You're one of these people who pushes makeup, don't you? Not cool. Why did you not say that she was pretty before?
That's a great feeling.
What's a great feeling? Thinking that you believe in God but not really believing in God? Saying that you're still anxious even though you know that God is out there protecting you and watching over you? Or what? What's a great feeling? You mean going back to who you were supposed to be? Who you were born as? Ah, yeah, that is a great feeling. So here's a great feeling for you, Michael. You were born vegan. When you came out of your mother's womb, you were vegan. You never wanted to hurt animals. Unless you're a psychopath, Michael. I don't know if you are. But about 1% of our population are psychopaths. That means they really don't care about the suffering of others, or they actually enjoy watching others suffer. I don't think that you're one of those people, because you do get a little bit emotional watching somebody return to who they were meant to be. So that shows that you have some sort of humanity. So why is it that you don't understand that you yourself, Michael Knowles, were born vegan? When you came out of your mother's womb, you did not consume eggs, you did not consume dairy, you did not consume meat, and you didn't ask your mom, Mama, can you please go and kill the dog because I want to eat the dog? You never said, Mama, can you please kill the cat because I want to kill and eat the cat? Or I want to watch you kill the cat. I just love the sound of that. No, you didn't do that. Nor did you ask your parents to kill the chickens, the lambs, the turkeys, or any other animals, the cows. None of them. Because Michael Knowles, you were born vegan. So you should return to your roots and who you are fundamentally. Instead of just talking about the trans community and how beautiful it is when they return to who they were meant to be, which is a good thing, I think. If that's what makes them happy, let them return. But you too, stop being a hypocrite.
Wow, isn't that great?
Yeah, it's great. Let's give him a check mark, just to balance it off. He's saying it's great because this person discovered that they were always meant to be a girl. She is happy now, let's say. That's good. Stop taking hormones. But I'm not convinced that this person is fully happy. If she took off the makeup and just really just embraced herself as she really is, that would be one thing. But again, if you want to put makeup on once in a while just for fun, it's no different, I guess, than putting on a scarf, which I do often, or whatever. I mean, it's just, put some earrings on. It's this dependency that I don't agree with. It's this idea that we have to wear makeup. I know people who refuse to leave the house without makeup. There are people who refuse to go on camera without makeup. There are people who are absolute slaves to it, and you should not be a slave to some sort of product, some sort of consumerism, something that is just making you be fake. If you are being fake, there's a problem.
This is a feel-good video. It's
a feel-good video. Yeah, I guess so.
You actually get a little choked up about it.
You get a little choked up about it. Meaning you? Why doesn't he say, I got a little choked up about it? Isn't that interesting? People are funny, eh? He's saying that you get choked up. I'm not getting particularly choked up about it, but I might. I think it is nice when people return to some sort of place of peace. But I've also watched the opposite, where people have transitioned and become a member of the opposite gender, and they seem at peace. And that's got me teared up. But sometimes that peace doesn't last. Sometimes it's just fake, right? Because wherever you are, wherever you go in life, however you arrange your body, whatever you dye your hair or not, or cut your boobs off, or cut your penis off, or whatever, wherever you go, you are still there. You are still there. So be careful what you do when it comes to manipulating your body. Cutting off any body parts, dyeing your hair, getting tattoos. Whoa, just pause. Leave yourself alone. Leave yourself as simple as you can be. Try to be as authentic as you can be.
Because you see this person who looks somewhat androgynous in the beginning of the video, very shortly cropped hair, men's clothing, no makeup.
What is men's clothing? What is men's clothing? Sometimes I wear a tie. Sometimes I wear a shirt with a collar. Is that men's clothing? What is men's clothing? Pants? Jeans? Shirts? Scarves? No. There's no such thing as men's clothing. Getting an X for that. If a man wants to wear a skirt, let him wear a skirt. A skirt is not necessarily women's clothing. Men wear them when they play those god-awful bagpipes. I hate the sound of those things. Sounds like a vacuum cleaner. It gives me a headache. But if they want to wear those skirts, is that now women's clothing, Michael?
And not really smiling, sort of shaving, even though there's no hair to shave. And then by the end you see, someone with makeup looks more like a girl. So it's a gender transition, just like the left tells us we should be able to do, and yet the left will not applaud that video.
How do you know they won't? Am I the left? I applaud the video. What is the left exactly? I'm going to put an X on that, because I don't know that that's true. It's kind of a general statement. What is the left, Michael? Do you not understand that ideas and the left and the right is complex? Some people with when it comes to certain issues, would be considered to be on the right. And some people, when it comes to others, would be considered to be on the left. I am somebody who looks at things through the lens of science, of what makes sense, of balance, and of trying to cause the least suffering in this world. That means don't pin down baby boys and rip off the tip of their penis. Circumcision is child abuse. It should be illegal. Trying to convince kids that they should be a member of the opposite gender should be illegal. You should not be allowed to do that. I don't think that we should be giving hormones to anybody also who is underage, because I think that we need to teach people to love themselves. Now, when you're older and you're of the age of consent, whatever that is, that's another story. At this point, you should have the ability to decide what happens to your body. But we should be very, very careful not to encourage people to put hormones into their bodies, because it's just not necessary. It would be much better society if we somehow manage to rally around people and just love them the way they are and convince them to love themselves the way that they are. If you're born gay, that's okay. It doesn't matter who you love. But when you start going and paying money for chemicals and for different types of hormones that are often taken from animals, there's often animal abuse in this. That's another story. When you start paying for products like makeup, which comes from these factories, even if it's vegan makeup, even if it's never tested on animals, think long and hard about what you're doing. Why are you trying to be someone else or be phony?
We are told that you should be able to change your sex however you please, but something tells me they're not going to applaud that idea, that a girl who believed for some period that she was like a boy, a tomboy or something, or a little more masculine, that girl would then recognize that, wait a second, God did make me how he wanted to make me. But actually, I am who I am. I am a girl. I am, even though maybe this is a fallen world, so I felt a little weird, but I am actually a girl. This argument you sometimes hear, God doesn't make mistakes. This was an argument in the gay rights movement decades ago, and now it's an argument in the transgender movement.
God doesn't make mistakes. First of all, again, we don't believe in God here at that vegan teacher's school. If you look at who would design a planet and design lions to deliberately hurt zebras, to run after them and bite into their necks and just cause them to suffer? If there is a God, God made plenty of mistakes in the design of this planet. It would be far better if we were all people who didn't hurt anyone and who were not born like lions and hyenas to hurt and to hunt, and that somehow the creatures of the earth just died natural, quick deaths without any harm whatsoever as they got older. That would be a perfect world where all the animals could live and everybody would eat plants and plants would grow and there'd be tons of plants, and nobody would put animals into horrible confined conditions like they did in World War II with the Jews. It was horrible, and we continue to do this to the animals now, putting pigs in gas chambers. It is unthinkable and horrible. And this man thinks that gas chambers are okay for pigs. He just always promotes veganism as being a terrible thing. He thinks that vegans are a big joke. How is it that this man can have a heart in some ways and then in other ways it's just completely gone, just kind of fell out of his body and just plopped on the side of the road? I don't get it.
But it doesn't quite work as well in the transgender movement, right? Because if you say, okay, God doesn't make mistakes, right, you're a girl. Well, no, but I think I'm a boy, right, but God doesn't make mistakes. Now, I don't think that the God doesn't make mistakes is exactly the best argument in a fallen world.
Oh, good. Check mark for you. It is not the best, I agree. In a fallen world.
Because the fact is that sin and death
The fact is that sin and death
pervade the world because of original sin.
The fact is that because of original sin? No, it's not because of original sin. It's just because it's the way it is. That's just the way it is, Michael. God didn't sit up there and design the world and be like, you know what, I'm going to create these beautiful creatures called lions and tigers and hyenas and leopards, and I'm going to make them go after these other small animals and just chase them and terrify them and then just rip them apart. And hey, I'm going to make humans, and I'm going to help them to design guns, and I'm going to help them to make these prison camps, these holocaust-like places. Hey, because yeah, that'll be fun. I can't wait for that. That's not what God does. If there is a God, let's hope that God is good. But there is no God. And then we should be good regardless of any religion. We don't need religion to be good. We just need to look into our hearts and imagine what it would be like to be the victim. We need to live our lives with empathy and put ourselves in the place of someone else. This person who transitioned, I'm happy for her. If she's going to be happy, great. I encourage her to quit with the makeup. You don't need all of that, and just be yourself. And I encourage you, Michael Knowles, to stop being a hypocrite. Stop acting like you care and one moment, and then when it comes to the animals, be like, meh, fuck the animals, who cares?
But if you're going to use that argument, it surely does not work on this transgender issue. I suspect you're going to see more of this. And I suspect for any parents out there or teachers out there who are supporting this vicious, evil ideology of transgenderism, which is just a rehashing of the same old Gnostic heresies that you saw in Manichaeism, that you saw in Albigensianism, that you saw in Marcionism. There are a lot of isms here, folks, going back thousands of years. It's not as though, I know that we like to think in this modern world that we're the first people to ever think of anything, but we're not.
Oh, good. You get a check mark for that. You're absolutely right. We are not the first people to think of these things. We are so ignorant, and so many people waste their time playing video games instead of looking at history and trying to understand all of the concepts. Even some of the concepts that you just mentioned, Michael, I don't know them all, but I'm going to look them up now. I'm not going to go home and play some video games. I'm going to be like, hey, I'm going to check out what he's talking about. That's what we should be encouraging people to do. Not just stare in the mirror at their boobs and stare in the mirror at their penises and be like, so me, 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 me. Let's learn about history.
These smarter people than you and I have hashed out these ideas before.
Yes, another check mark.
But because our education is so degraded now, we do not really have the access to these thoughts before.
Our education is degraded. Tell me, Michael Knowles, have you watched any of the important documentaries? Did you watch Dominion Movement? Do you know what actually happens? Or do you just think, oh yeah, I know what happens in factory farming. Oh yeah, too bad. But do you actually know? Have you ever watched Earthlings? Your homework, Michael Knowles. Watch Earthlings. Watch Dominion Movement. Watch Cowspiracy. Watch Seaspiracy. Educate yourself, Michael Knowles. Do you remember the videos I told you to watch? Watch these documentaries. Dominion Movement, Earthlings, Cowspiracy, Seaspiracy, and also watch American Circumcision. American Circumcision will show you what actually goes on, how barbaric the practice is. It is unthinkable that we take these little innocent baby boys and strap them down into Velcro straps, their legs and their arms, and rip off their diaper and go after their penis and cut around there and remove part of it. It is child abuse. It is sexual abuse. It is despicable. And it should be illegal. And if you have done it to any of your kids, you should be in jail. You should not be paying anyone for doing that. Make sure that you are on the right side of history and on the right side of everything, Michael. Be an upstanding guy and be consistent. Be consistent in your outrage. Don't be a hypocrite. Be vegan, Michael Knowles, which simply means doing your absolute best every day to support animals and their suffering, to come out of their suffering. When you're shopping, only veggies, fruits, nuts, and seeds in your shopping cart, because peace begins on your plate, Michael Knowles. So open up your heart. Be vegan, Michael Knowles.
Before we make big mistakes. I think you're going to see a lot of this, and I think you're going to see a lot of resentment from people who are pushed by perverts and idiots into mutilating and destroying their bodies at a very young...
I agree. I think we will be in the future seeing that. Just like parents who pay people to cut off the tip of their baby boy's penis. They do this in several religions, and some people do it even if they're not religious. There's just some dads that wake up and go, you know what? I had a new baby boy and I want his penis to look like mine. Mine is circumcised and cut, and so we're going to do that to our son as well. Mothers, don't allow this to happen. Stop it. Fathers, don't let it happen. Don't pin down pigs either and castrate them. Leave animals alone. Stop breeding them into existence, and stop cutting off the beaks of chickens just because you want to cram them into cages and you don't want them to peck at each other. Stop pulling out and shaving off the teeth of little baby pigs without anesthetic. Don't touch their tails. Don't cut off their tails. What the fuck do you think, Michael Knowles? How can you care about this human who is transitioning back to being female, but at the same time take your knife and stab it into some meat that you paid somebody to hurt? This innocent animal. Right now, they are taking pigs and shoving them into gas chambers. They are screaming for their lives. Did you know, Michael Knowles, that there are double the chickens on the planet than there are humans? Where are they all? In factory farms, hidden, unable to open their wings, unable to feel the sun, to see the sky, to feel the wind, to peck into the dirt, to bathe in the dirt, which is all of these things that you say you like, this natural thing. Remain the way that you were meant to be. Leave the animals the fuck alone. Don't go near them. Don't put them in cages. Don't breed them. Don't pay people to shove their fist up a female and put sperm into her. This is not anything that she consents to, and then to take her baby away so that you, Michael Knowles, can steal the milk. Are you vegan, Michael Knowles? The last time I heard you weren't. So you should be vegan from now on. Don't put milk into your coffee unless it is soy milk or oat milk. Same as in your cereal. Michael Knowles, nothing in your home should be any animal products involved. Don't buy leather couches. Don't bring honey in there. Don't steal from bees. If you think that you're an upstanding citizen, then you should, by your own logic, you should be vegan because you think that stealing is wrong. Don't steal. Don't steal the products from animals that is their eggs. Don't steal their milk. Don't steal their honey. Don't steal their freedom. Don't steal their babies. Don't steal their lives.
Young age, below the age of consent, before they had developed their faculties of reason. And woe to the parents and the educators who indulge this kind of insanity.
I agree with you. It is absolutely insane to be trying to convince people to change their gender. I don't know the whole story though, Michael. Some people, when they are older and they're adults and they want to do something to their bodies, who are we to say? I think that at a young age we should try to convince people to love themselves. We need to teach this in school. And we need to teach speciesism is wrong in school. That we are discriminating against animals in the way that we are. We teach kids, unfortunately, that it's okay to have a pet in the classroom, keeping a gerbil, a mouse, or a baby chick, just so we can watch them and stare at them. Only for what? For our sensory pleasure? No. We need to show kids these amazing documentaries about animals, and we also need to tell them the truth, such as showing them documentaries like Seaspiracy, what really goes on in the oceans, how much plastic we put in there. Don't eat fish, Michael Knowles.
Young girls fall for this nonsense because the media push radical propaganda. Among other things, the educators as well, the politics as well. If you don't ring that...
Okay. So, that's what he thinks. What I have for you, Michael Knowles, is unfortunately, you failed because you still have more X's than check marks. That doesn't mean that everything that you said was wrong, Michael. I understand where you're coming from. You want to advocate for sanity, for science in some ways, and I think you want the world to be a better place, but you gotta look in the mirror. That's the problem with you, Michael, is you encourage people to look in the mirror and to put on makeup and to love themselves that way. But then when it comes to yourself, you don't look in the mirror at what you're actually doing. Now I'm talking about a metaphorical mirror at this point. Look at yourself. Look what's on your plate, Michael. There should only be healthy vegan food there. If you don't know how to become vegan, go to howdoigovegan.com and read about it. Read about how we treat animals and learn the truth. Watch the documentaries. I'll mention them again. Dominion Movement, Earthlings, Cowspiracy, Seaspiracy. Also, don't forget that you can go, if you only have 5 minutes, to something called Dairy is Scary to find out what happens in the dairy industry. And go and check out American Circumcision. It's another documentary. You should be helping to fight against circumcision, against baby boys and baby girls. Nobody should be cutting off the body parts of children. Ever. We should not be convincing children to do that to themselves either. We need to teach people to love themselves as they are. To be healthy, of course, not to be 20, 30, 40 pounds overweight and not to be able to run around the block. We need to convince people to be healthy, to take as good care of themselves by eating healthy veggies, fruits, nuts, seeds, and grains. And to, Michael, Google the American Academy of Dietetics and Nutrition, the Nutrition and Dietetics Academy, because they have affirmed that you can be healthy at all stages of development. From being a little child, and you're born vegan. You never wanted to hurt animals, Michael, until your parents shoved dead animals in you and you didn't even know what they were. So, if you go to the American Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics, you will see that you can be healthy yourself as a vegan. So why pay for murder if you don't have to? Same for your parents, grandparents, pregnant mothers, lactating mothers. Everyone can be vegan, and you should all start now. Thank you to everybody who is watching. Coming up on the screen now will be some other videos of mine that you may not have seen yet. Have a look at them. Click on them if you are curious to know a little bit more about veganism. We're going to be reviewing all kinds of channels that are from right-wing people like this. We're going to be looking at left-wing channels. We're going to be talking about all different types of animals in the world and different ways that they are abused. We're going to also be looking at good things like vegans who are saving animals, vegans who are really trying hard to raise the issue up into the mainstream media. That's why I'm tapping into people like this person here, Michael Knowles. He has 638,000 subscribers. Vegans, if you are watching, stop doing videos only about veganism to your own small circle. Get out there and talk to people who are not vegan. Get out there and try to burst through. If your comment section is filled with love, you're not doing vegan animal rights activism properly. It means you're just preaching to the choir. Your comment section, think about it. If we are only 1% vegans in this world, that means 99 of the comments in your comment section should be people against veganism, because that's showing that you're actually making some clicks. Remember, it takes 100 clicks until you're vegan. That's what it takes. It has to penetrate, the message has to penetrate your mind. You have to understand the science. You have to understand that you can be vegan. You have to know that there are vegan athletes in the world, and it has to penetrate your heart. You have to feel for the animals. So animal rights activists, if your comment section is full of hate and people are like, oh, I fucking hate you, oh, fuck you, bitch, it means you're doing right. You're doing a good job. You are reaching people who need to hear the message, because those people over time end up listening, and they will go and watch those documentaries. And over time, and eventually you get letters that say, dear Miss KADIE, I used to hate you. And then I realized after several clicks that maybe I should go and check out those documentaries. And then I watched them. And then I cried my eyes out. And then I realized, Miss KADIE, you were right. I need to be vegan from now on. Thanks for watching, everyone. Don't forget to subscribe. And you see the notification bell down there? Click that. If you click the bell, it means that you are open-minded. You are willing to look at things beyond yourself. You have an open heart and an open mind. You're willing to learn, even if you disagree with me. Just like I don't necessarily agree with everything that Michael Knowles says, but I do look at his channel and many others, all kinds of channels, to see what the world is thinking. Be open, be vegan. Click the notification bell, and I'll see you in the next video. Don't forget to give yourself a hug, everyone. You ready? Come on, give yourself a hug. Give yourself a squeeze. Why are you doing this? Because you are the only one who will always be there. When you do look in the mirror, look directly into your eyes and say, hi, cutie, how's it going? Because you really are your own best friend. But also give yourself shit sometimes. Say, hey, did you floss your teeth? Hey, did you make sure to eat only plants today? Veggies, fruits, nuts, seeds, and grains? Hey, good job. Happy Vegan Declaration Day again to everyone who's just become vegan. Michael Knowles, be vegan from now on.